He's Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Sunday Open. I'm Nick with three very special guests tonight. I'm joined by Sara, Pharm, and Leo. How are we doing, guys?
Hey, Nick.
Doing good. What's up?
Oh, the indices. Lovely gap up to start our show here tonight. Godspeed to anybody trading this gap up. What we are likely moving off of is clearly the China trade deal news that came out early this morning, or at least that I was waking up to, and I would imagine it's a major talking point for the early parts of this week. But this week itself is full of plenty of events to get traders excited or hope for maybe some volatility both ways, as it is a lovely FOMC week. But not only that, we couple FOMC Wednesday with the first part of the Mag 7 earnings week. So we'll talk a little bit about that with Meta, Microsoft, and Google all reporting Wednesday after Powell finishes talking. So clearly get their opportunity to upstage his press conference after the bell. So that'll be a lot of fun. So this week itself is full of plenty of events that we can trade off of. I don't know what to make much of this gap up. I think we were all just talking in the green room. Is it going to get faded? How is the market going to, actively react to this heading into the open tomorrow? I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. When I was kind of doing my prep, I guess, into the weekend and thinking about this week, looking at even, the structure of last week when we had, I guess, moments of everything is falling apart and it's over and, no all-time highs. The 7,000 SPX calls are probably gone. And then you have days like Friday where CPI just sends us gapping above the previous all-time high and continuing to move higher tonight. So, we're at all-time highs. What else is new? It seems like it's been that way all summer and now continuing well into the fall and probably into the winter as we get ready for what is likely to be a bullish move into the end of the year. So looking at this week, guys, how do we feel? Sara, how are you feeling about this week? What are your thoughts?
I hate trading when we're up at all-time highs. So not too excited for me. As far as the strat goes, we have almost no weekly setups to play off of because everything happened last week. What was it? ES, NQ, YM all hit new all-time highs last week. RTY just hit it just a couple minutes ago. So there's just not a lot for me to do up here at these levels. As of right now, we're obviously up, but that could change come, Monday or Tuesday. So I am just going to kind of play it slow and see if we get some sort of reversal on like a 60-minute time frame, or maybe I'll have to wait till Tuesday for a daily reversal. I would prefer to play down, but I can't play down until the charts tell me to. So I'm just going to have to kind of wait and see what we get.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for, obviously, until the trade news kind of brought us in here. I was waiting to see if we were going to get another chance to kind of tap the previous all-time high, because in theory, if we were to fail that on ES, I would potentially love for this balance trade to continue to play out, where I could be looking to fade the top side of this around 6,800, inside of that, kind of falling inside last week's value area high here at 67.85s. But I don't know if the market's going to give us an opportunity. And I think everybody on the show, if you've been tuning in to the Sunday Opens pretty much all summer, you've heard me just curse the all-time highs, because I absolutely agree with Sara. And this is sometimes the most miserable price action for even me to want to trade, because I just have a tendency to not necessarily want to call top, but to try to fade some of these moves at the all-time high. And we just tend to grind and drift a little bit higher. So it isn't necessarily the best environment for someone that usually likes to trade on a two-way tape. So this is another week setting up for potential misery for me as we just making another all-time high. So, Sarah, I mean, are there any other markets you're really looking at this week? Obviously, the indices at all-time highs. What are your thoughts on gold, which we cooled off from? I think we should probably go to Sarah's screens too.
Yeah, let's go to my chart. There we go. There's my charts. So like we just said, everything gapped up. So I'm not in a hurry to do anything at all. But I got nothing to say other than we're at all-time highs, and you just got to wait a bit and see what happens. Some other stuff would be, let's go to Bitcoin because this is a good one. It's important. You guys all remember the broadening formation on Bitcoin. It's been drawn here for a while. High, low, new high, new low, new high, new low. And then we have an inside week at downside exhaustion because we took out fresh lows and we took out the quarterly pivot, which I believe was right there. Or no, we went outside quarter. So now we're going inside week and up. So what we want to see as strat traders is we want to see us stay above last week's high, and we want to go make new all-time highs. That is how the broadening formations kind of work, right? So stop everybody out and then go the other way. Oil is getting a little bit of corrective activity on the weekly chart. The major downside targets still exist down there, but a little corrective activity is kind of welcome. Preferably, I would prefer we take out this pivot high back from 10.8 and then continue down like this. So stop out anybody who's short using this as a stop and then go back down, go the other way. Let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. We're going to go to gold. So gold last week, the futures chart did not go outside week. It came just 10 points shy of its downside week target. And what I mean by that is an engulfing bar. So last week, we took out the highs by just a smidge and then started falling back in. And we know how threes are created, or outside bars. So we take out one side of the range, fail it. So the failure would be failure to stay above the highs. So we were looking to take out the lows. Again, we came 10 points shy of it. So what we have set up though now for this week, if we break last week's lows this week, you've got a big pivot machine gun or a bunch of stacked stops or higher lows that we could quickly come back through. So we're going to want to know if gold does that and like really start to take profit. But until that happens, can't go down. Can't go down until we go down, right? Let's see. We're an inside bar on the daily currently. We're actually 3 days stuck inside Wednesday's candle. So this is just kind of tightening up. See how these 3 bars are inside this one? So not a lot to do right now because like I said, we're stuck. Or if you visualize it like this, this would be your mother bar, and then these 3 candles are stuck. So nothing to do there right now. So that major level for gold is 40.21.2. Then we'll go to silver. Silver, they did take some profit last week. We broke a previous week's low for the first time, but they kind of bought it up. So now I'd be looking to see if we can get a daily reversal up. So I would want to be long if we are above Friday's high on silver, because what that could do is potentially trigger a weekly reversal back to the upside, back to all-time highs. So it starts with the daily time frame triggering, and then if it stays in force, we can get up here and trigger the week, and then, like I said, get back to the all-time highs. The dollar, I have delayed data, but this is fine because I don't like trade it. I just chart it. But we're still looking for this 100.05 level on the dollar because of this broadening formation, which you can see is drawn on the chart. We have a double inside week. So we want to see us go double inside week and up, and then hit this target here of 99.30, and then hit that top of the broadening formation target up there. And I think that's all I've got of interest. So we covered the futures, the 4 futures, Bitcoin, oil, gold, silver, and the dollar. So if anybody has any questions, you can type them in chat. Otherwise, that's all I got. But you do have a nice domino trade for the dollar, where the daily hammer can trigger the weekly double inside bar. So if you like domino trades, which if you're a strat trader, you know what that means. You got the daily participants triggering the weekly participants, and then you got a double top target, which we say are made to be broken. They're not, resistance. They are our targets. Let me see if anybody had any questions in the chat. Tom, BTC full send 125K. I hope you get that. Shab is a natural at finding broadening formations. My team is here.
Well,
okay, looks like no questions.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Leo, I know our friends in the chat are waiting on pins and needles to hear your in-depth agricultural analysis of soybean futures pending the China USA trade agreement deal, tongue-in-cheek, whatever we want to call this going forward, because this is in fact like the 3rd or 4th time we've reached a deal since Liberation Day. So let's hear your perspective heading into this week, sir.
Is it some kind of sick joke?
I mean, you're a big soybeans guy, right?
No.
I feel like we got to look at it. I know it's ag doesn't open till tomorrow. I believe soybeans would be a part of that, but I'm curious to even look at the chart pending that news. I would imagine that including, not including just Bitcoin, is probably going to be full send tomorrow as well.
I don't even know. I have never looked at a soybean chart before, Nick.
I haven't either, but
maybe
this is the week, sir. Maybe this is the week that you
Nobody's got time for that.
All right. Take it away with NQ.
All right. Well, it's actually, I also hate trading all-time highs. I don't know a trader that loves trading all-time highs because of, it's just slow and often very grindy. Although we have seen some nice pickup in volatility in the last couple of weeks of October. So that's been nice. But for me, the picture is really clear because we have this balance area that we talked about last week. Very, very clear, range of distribution, essentially. From 25,388 at the top of the range to 24,384 at the bottom of the range. And now that we've broken out of this a month and a half consolidation, we would expect any retests of these areas, and nothing is to the tick, but we're looking from say 25,450 all the way to that 25,387. Somewhere in that range should be support in theory, right? And so for me, it's a very clear line in the sand. If we hold that, as long as we hold that on a dip, I would look for that to be strong support and for buyers to step in for continuation if we're going to continue higher. If that fails, that's a big red flag for me, and I would look for this entire range to get traded through. So I would be looking for as this whole range and breakout as a failed breakout. Although that's not my primary idea at this time, I would be on guard for it. My primary idea would be the market's bullish. We use every level of support to continue higher until something changes. That's kind of the default mode. However, now that we have this clear breakout from this range, we also know what a failure of that breakout looks like on a higher time frame. And so that's why, for me, this picture is so clear going into the next couple of weeks. We stay out of this range and we continue to build volume and push higher. Great. I'm all in. I'm not all in. I'm looking more on the long side. If we fail to hold any of these tests lower, it's funny to say lower at 25,300, but if any of these fail and we start to accept with volume back through this range, I will look for more on the short side as this would be a potential failed breakout, essentially. Something I said.
I mean that.
No.
I think that sums it up pretty well. And it's kind of the similar setup that I was talking about on ES, where it's like we go back to whatever it was, that October 10th Trump tweet high, and we either are going to probably bounce off that little candle there that we've been trading inside for the last 2 weeks, or we could definitely get that entire kind of value traverse was the words I was looking for, back inside of that range. So I think it is definitely possible. I hope the market gives us an opportunity for the potential long at the top edge of that range or that failure. I hope it's not a gap up and go, kind of like we saw on Friday. I would hope that we get an opportunity to either get long with this momentum at NQ, kind of back towards that, whoever that 500 guy was on Friday that was driving me insane when I kept trying to short 530s in parts of Friday. Some guy just kept stepping in. If you were actually trading kind of the mid-morning, someone was just continuing to sit on the bid there several times. So yeah, Leo, any other markets you're looking to interact with this week? Any thoughts on gold?
Gold is the hot precious metal market. And the problem is I haven't looked at it. And but I also have to trade it tomorrow during the Arena Cup Challenge.
Yes, probably a good time to plug that as well. How are you feeling?
I'm not sure. I'm not ready. So we'll see what happens between right now and the next 12 hours.
I mean, any strategy? Are you just going to throw up a bunch of DOMs and hope for the best?
Well, I thought about that, and I think the best way to look at that challenge is obviously like everybody's, positioning or looking for like the big trade, right? And I think I'm just going to look for, the standard setup that I would always look for in NQ, and then look for good trade setups in other markets that I don't trade or have never traded, and just put on the same trade and just let those trades work. Either work or fail. If they fail, then wait for something else to set up. So I just I'm looking for, I guess, like intraday, swing intraday type of trades on the other markets. I can just let them, give them space to run, let them run, and then trade NQ like I normally would.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully I can continue, and Sarah as well, to learn from everyone's mistakes that's done these first qualifiers on air when we continue to do ours next Monday, November 3rd. I believe that's the actual date. But yeah, if you guys have not already, as we're alluding to, the second qualifier for the Arena Cup is tomorrow. We're going to be broadcasting it all day here on NT Live. So you get to see Leo, Kane, T-Trades. Who else? I am totally blanking on who else is in tomorrow's crew.
Kane,
I was just asking
T-Trades, XYZ.
Oh, XY.
Kane, XY, T-Trades, and Market Mommy.
That's it. So good group, awesome people there, some great traders, and that should be a lot of fun. So but the other thing too is if you have not actually registered, there still is space in qualifier 3. You can trade alongside myself, Pax, Sarah, Chris, and Merritt the following Monday as well. And join us in qualifier 3 if you have not registered already for the Arena Cup. It is a wonderful time to do so. So last little plug there. But Leo, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Look forward to watching you try to trade 6E. That should be just glorious comedy for me.
Hey, I've traded it before. I'll be more comfortable with that. I'm actually curious. Are we allowed to start and this might be a NinjaTrader question, are we allowed to start trading at those pit opens because they open, before the indexes as well as
That is a good
CL?
question.
So can we trade 6E gold and CL before those market open, index markets open?
That'll be the $1 million question there. Let's see if somebody smarter than us in the chat and knows the answer. If not, we will get you. We'll figure that out tomorrow, and then maybe we can take advantage of it in the third week. So, last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend himself. I want to hear his thoughts on several markets heading into the upcoming week. Pharm, how are we doing?
Should we call him Piss Missile?
I mean, I think he correctly, called the Piss Missile rally continuing several weeks ago. So I got to give Pharm credit.
Unfortunately, I was looking for, I would have preferred 1932 lows, but here we are back at the highs, I guess, at least until tomorrow, right? But yeah, Leo was throwing a fit about the prospect of going last, so I said we'd save the best for last. It's just fine.
Oh, horse shit!
At all. Can't believe you didn't see that one coming, buddy. Yeah, the one thing we didn't cover, right? The one possibility we didn't cover, because I completely agree with everything everybody said, and I also hate really trading all-time highs. Just pick the grind is just horrible. Right. I mean, if VIX gets crushed and we end up at a 15 vol, 13 vol, 12 vol, it's like, 22 handle ranges on ES. It's like you get it in good once or you don't really get a trade. So I'm not looking forward to that. But we've talked about, okay, we've got this huge breakout, almost 6 full weeks in range. And so if that sustains, like the guy said, then, it's pretty much pressing the buy button. Right. If it fails, then we do have the potential to test the other side, but we didn't cover the false failed breakout scenario because this market has been absolute max fuckery lately. And so like, to me, I mean, you're right. Like it's super boring and like easy plan. Breakout holds, you go with it long. If the breakout fails, you look to short it. So like, what else is there? And so for me, it was kind of that, right? So, for ES, I would say, I mean, the absolute top, right, would have been 68.09 half on an RTH basis. 68.12 half was the ETH high coming off of, ahead of that 1010 nuke fest. And that's basically where Friday's low held, right? It was 12.5 or whatever. So that's like, the ideal back test is just hold that and go. And obviously we've opened here and thus far we are going. I would call, so 67.97 to 6,800, that actually would correspond. I know this is like taboo for futures traders, but that would actually correspond to the prior SPX all-time high. And also was a very, very stubborn spot on ES that most of you will probably remember, just kind of looking left in there. So I would consider that as, and then also I would I just totally moved something on my chart. What a dipshit. I would also consider the 2 relative equal highs we had on, what was it, like Tuesday, Wednesday. We had a 4-day balance. That to me offers some protection within this broader balance where it may potentially not butter all the way back down. So to me, those are like the routine traps, I would say, of what looks to be a failure back into balance that actually kicks back out. So obviously 9.5 to 12.5 roughly, that's just a hold, right? That's just a perfect back test and everybody's happy. Anything that dips into, this gap here, reclaims, same deal. And then I would say 97 to 6,800, those are your, that spot. And then 86 to 90, looks a little scarier, but I would also still consider that a routine trap. But like, I mean, from my perspective, I've seen a lot of what seems to me to be short time frame traders in this market. And we have not seen, I feel like, and actually you guys can weigh in on this because, we all have different perspectives and look at different things, but I feel like at times we've seen what appear to me to be high time frame sellers, but for the most part, content to just sit passive and looks to me like longs exiting. I haven't really seen, outside of a couple of instances, what I would see the presence of like some big short seller, marking up this tape outside of, a few days. And so are we going to have enough of that impetus to come in and like really get to the other side of the range. Maybe, maybe not. But on the same side, like longs have been super short time frame, weak-handed pigs as well. And so they're just going to puke. I mean, that's what 1010 was, right? We liquidated weak-handed longs, and then we had the inside week. We had that big move higher last week on Monday and Tuesday, where shorts were liquidated. We ended up in a P-shaped profile for the week that was developing. That got rugged. Guess who got liquidated? Longs, right? So it's like just a lot of weak participation lately. So I'm less optimistic about seeing the complete bottom of the balance if we do fail back in, and open to the potential traps. But it gets really, really tricky if you do get back into range. And then I put 57 to 63, maybe that prior inside week high at 66 3/4 as like the max fuckery trap that just ends up firing back out of balance. We've got earnings, right? I mean, we've got Fed news, we've got who knows what's coming from Trump and trade. So like, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not as easy as we might like, and just sustain this breakout and go. But that definitely is the most boring situation, if that's all we do here today. So that's yes, and I am happy to cover CLGC. Anybody have any comments or thoughts on any of the bullshit that I just rambled? It's a family show.
Family show to kick off the week here. Of course.
Yeah, well, I think when the breakout like we have right now, if it fails, there's going to be a lot of energy to the downside. So I agree with you that the maximum fuckery level, like we can certainly rock it out of that one of those levels, but at the same time I think there's going to be a lot of this like, okay, we've been in this range forever, we attempted to break out of it, that's now failed. So in my opinion there would be a lot of energy to go down.
Definitely. There definitely would be. And a situation for me where I'm not like trying to take some swing long back in range at all, like never.
Yeah.
But it's more for me because I would be pressing the sell button if we fail back in.
Yeah.
It's more for me an awareness of like, how might I get wrecked here? And where might that come from? Right. So for me, I'm always, what's the other side of it? Right?
Yeah, of course.
Bullish.
Yeah.
Just play that other side, and like, how might I get destroyed in this situation? And then, then if that plays out, then we know if we fire back out of balance, you've got plenty of time to be long, right? If we do get a trap back into balance and kicks back out, plenty of time to be long. I'm not worried about being late, and I also don't necessarily need to be first in to be short. But I mean, like, really, I mean, if we're getting lower highs, lower lows back into proper value of last week, then it's not good, not good at all. I did look at GC. I didn't mark anything up on my chart, I don't think, but I had mentioned last week that spot basically down there at those lows, and I agree. I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical.
We didn't take out the previous week low.
That's exactly
it drove me nuts last week. I was just like, at least trap some sellers that want to kind of get us back inside 4,000 in theory.
Yeah, I definitely saw that as a bit of a sign of weakness from sellers. Like Sara pointed out. I mean, we took one side of the range and we couldn't come back down and take the other side. And I mean, it's not like it was a situation where like we ran out of time, right? Like this happened on Friday. That's not what it was. Sellers had plenty of time to prove they were serious and actually defended. Let's see, right here, they defended some single prints from whatever the hell day this was, and they still couldn't get it down through. This was infuriating because I would have loved and still would like a sweep of those lows, because then if you do push down there and fail back into range, of the 2 weeks, and end up with, let's say this week is green, but it has taken out both those equal lows. Maybe it fires off this high volume node from the trailing week. Then it sets up next week, actually would be potentially a long, I think Sara would agree, back up somewhere towards the top. And there's good reason to me to think that would happen. But, at least within this range, basically where it tagged at the open, like 40.75, was to me a potential place to look to get long if it sustains above, like, let's say basically right where it's at, 41.05 to 13, this kind of range, right? Sort of get back into the meat of this distribution, and we can cross back up and retest these somewhat equal highs. I would still be a little bit cautious of a failed push through these highs, take these stops that rotates back across. So I definitely think that's something to watch out for. And like, I don't even know if I would trade that on the short side. Like, I don't really see a trade that I'm like, oh, that's the trade I want on GC this week, outside of like actually coming down, taking these lows and failing back into range. So to me, it's, it's obviously very constructive on high time frames. Sellers couldn't get down there and take that low. It really pissed me off as well. I think it needs a little bit more time, but I mean, you could look at this generally as a bit of a B. I think last week's profile, I don't know that it's going to be quite as clean as a retrace that just rips through and cleans up all this structure, but I mean, that's basically the mission it's on, right? If it sort of accepts back above these highs here. So I don't know that it's going to be super clean to trade necessarily this week. Now that I said that it'll be the easiest trade ever on whatever side of the tape you're on.
It wasn't that easy to trade last week, I think. I mean, I got stopped out on the retest of the all-time high short on Monday night, and I have the screenshot to prove my poor stop placement once again. That continues to be a thing. I don't know what's wrong with me, but the universe did then, I guess, pay me back in some capacity. The market gods blessed me on Wednesday with actually catching the gap fill on ES and NQ. So universe balance is back out, but I missed that short. But it was a mess kind of after that. After the 4 or 5% down day we had, like Monday night into Tuesday, it like the spread was getting wide. It was very like whipsawy at times. I think a lot of people had to start, if you traded the minis, like maybe you were scaling in with micros. I was seeing people do into the latter half of the week. It just got a little sloppy. Yeah.
No, I think I messed around with it once and immediately regretted it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
GC, again, don't see a clean setup. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hey, Pharm. The levels on your chart, can you scroll up? Like, can we see it higher? Where are these levels from?
On ES, for example?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you'd agree. I mean, it's all bullshit. We've never traded there, right? So, but they're all extensions, right? So I grab extensions from different methodologies, from different, balance ranges, value areas, and it's just all extensions. I don't really use fibs, for example. They're more traditional extensions, but that's where they all come from. And I personally will use like 3 or 4 different methods and then look for confluence. And some of the balance ranges that I use are extremely old, actually. Like if you take, I'll just give you one example for everybody here, but if you take, because we are at a pretty key extension here, actually right now it's at 6809 SPX. Was pretty key to me. If you just take the 2022 range, I mean, sometimes it's really this easy. And then you just do a full extension of 2022. That's where we topped in February. If you look at SPX, and we are now at the, so that would be a 2.0 extension. 2.5 would be 6803 or 8 or something, I forget, on SPX. So that's just one example where sometimes it's super clean and sometimes as easy as just like doubling a range or some shit, and taking some clean midpoints. So that's generally what I'm looking for to get these. But am I looking to take action and like short, 85 to 88 blindly because it's on my chart? No, of course not. Just see how price develops around those spots. From there, another big one is at, let's see, I want to say it's 6969 actually on SPX. But actually, that would be another major extension for me. So all price discovery, respect price, and see how price behaves at some of these spots.
Well, it's just interesting because where we've opened, you got a touch of the top purple range and a touch of the bottom purple range. So I just thought that was interesting, and I wanted to know where it came from.
Yeah, and I can talk more about that. I honestly, I put a lot of work into my extensions. They're not always great, but usually when you find like 3 or 4 different reasons why a certain spot might be relevant based on some of these extensions, they tend to be pretty good. Now that I said that, my levels will be shit this week at all-time high, but I've been waiting for that. I've said this a few times. Like I'm due to have terrible levels one of these times at all-time highs, but it's never easy, and there's always a little bit of guesswork in that, but you just kind of do your best.
Sorry, I was trying to find the symbol for soybeans just to continue this joke that I'm going to be making all week. It is, in fact, ZS. So if anyone has interest,
I love that you try to put me on the fucking spot. Like, all right, Leo, pull up soybeans.
I mean,
you don't even know the symbol yourself.
Why would I know the symbol? You think I?
Why would you expect me to know it?
I figured maybe you were, you know. I don't know. I'm trying to keep the running joke alive, and I'm going to continue to make this joke all
dead.
week.
It's
you know
dead.
what? Whatever, man. So yes, the soybean futures contract for the CME is yes. So good luck, everybody. It's basically been in a D-shaped profile since December of last year. So joy.
Perfect.
I don't
Leo,
know
you're a
anything
balanced
about
trader.
it.
What's up?
You're a balanced trader, right? Love trading balance. 2 ways.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Yeah, it works for me.
Glorious.
I like trading markets that move, though. I don't know. Does the soybeans do they actually move?
I mean, they're gonna move this week, aren't they?
I
There
mean,
was a
every
week to
market's going
trade
to move.
soybeans. It's probably this week
Why this week?
because part of the agreement
It's Trump. Okay, never mind.
was from the China
It's fine.
trade deal with China agreeing to purchase from U.S. farmers, which apparently our Secretary of the Treasury is also a soybean farmer. Who knew?
I don't know.
Allegedly.
My closest foray into ag trading was when my friend was short like 10 lots of corn, and he got stuck into a close because he didn't know that market closed early, and that there was an agricultural report coming out, so he had to hold it. He was, basically swaying short into an ag report news event, whatever, that he had no idea what he was doing. It was funny.
The fact
Many years ago.
But like ag is like actually used for like a true like hedging mechanism for
Yeah,
farmers and other things. That's why it's
Yeah.
like it's so interesting, and the thought of actually trading it like scares the crap out of me because there's so many
Right.
things that could actually affect the true underlying price. But yeah, anyway, one of these days. I mean, I've traded it before. I guess I've
it's
never
no different
used.
than Crude is this used for that same
But
mechanism.
Crude's
too.
a little more liquid at times, and I think operates like energy. Think operates a little different than like true ag. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, I've casually traded lean hogs. I need to do cattle one of these days for fun. See if it moves.
Yeah, somebody was just saying live cattle went limit down on Friday.
Yeah, on Friday. I
It
saw
did,
that.
which was interesting.
I'm looking at it now. The ticker is LE.
It's been cattle and beef have been very bullish for many, like all year. And like chart is literally just up and to the right, and it's just limit down. Seems funny.
Oh, we're on my chart. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, so they had an inside day down on Friday, and then this again like a pivot machine gun, all these stack stops that just got taken out. I guess these don't trade in after hours. I don't know.
No, they have
They have their own special hours.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But I would imagine this had something to do with the Argentina beef thing that we were talking about. I don't know. There's
beef with Argentina now
that we're going to purchase beef from Argentina. I don't know what's wrong with that. Our cows here in the U.S. But I mean,
they're going to try to save Argentina now too.
I guess that is an Argentinian beef deal. There we go. So that's clearly what did this.
Stratters need to start trading cattle. It's perfect. Inside up, target one.
You should put that on your weekly report, Sarah.
Damn.
See
Two
if
down.
you get any weird comments.
Oh,
perfect
God,
setup on beef, folks.
Long beef. No, I'm kidding.
Good morning,
but anyway,
Sara.
and then this shooter, 2-up shooter. It didn't hit the magnitude yet, but damn near. Boop,
You guys have
boop.
some very interesting names. With
I know. It's it came from our mentor. But look at that. Like this is like straight strat stuff. What I mean by that, oh God, where's my sheet when I need it?
Well, I guess that's the thing with the ag products. You really can't. I don't think you can trade it on like a true intraday the way we trade indices. Like I feel like you have to hold for a longer period of time to capture a move like that. Obviously, a limit down is very different, but I feel like that's the only way to trade. You can't really be in and out in a session. Maybe you can. I don't know.
You see what I'm circling on the screen? This 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah.
That's that chart. The 2 down, 2 up, that's here. 2 down, 2 up.
That's what I want on gold, Sarah, for the week.
It's literally on the sheet. Like, it's exactly like trading can be this easy. Like, this is when we go long. We go long above that week's high. We're targeting that week. Like, it's right here on this stupid infographic. It's not stupid. It's wonderful, but oh, I wanted to talk about I don't know how you say it. Palladium.
Palladium.
Yeah,
the other precious metal that, I guess we can call it a precious metal. Yes, that seems to be another hot one that people are starting to trade or trying to trade.
Yeah, this one looks good. And I also want to talk about, I think it was platinum. Anyway, we took out the lows, right? So we took out anybody who'd been long since 1010. So we stopped them out. So we're going to look for this to be the bottom of our Browning formation. We're going to look to come all the way back up. You have a daily actionable signal right here. So if we get above whatever that level is, 1505.3, that's the long signal. That's a rev strat inside, failed 2 down, 2 up reversal, back through a pivot machine gun, which is, again, just like 5 or more stacked, like, what are these? Lower highs in this instance. See how everyone's, lower? That's what we call a pivot machine gun, because it just means price blasts through there really quickly. So if we do break this high, we would get up here super fast because stops are going to start triggering, short stops, and then natural buyers. And then you would look to, come all the way back up. Okay, so that's that. And then platinum was awesome. We talked about this last week. So last week, if you guys remember, we had this exhaustion level on the chart, which was back from 2013. So we took out that pivot high level. And then, we got a shooter week. And that was the target to the downside, which it did hit. So if you were long, you would, take partials off here, and then you could flip and go short here and then make some more money on the downside. But now it's setting back up for a reversal back up. And so same, just like the other chart, we stopped out people from 10-2. So this would be our Browning formation. And we have a hammered day that can trigger the week. So again, this is what we call a domino trade, where the lower time frame can trigger the higher time frame. So you'd want to see this and then like that. For this is platinum. I've never traded it. I don't like trade most of this stuff. I really just trade like the 4 futures. Not even the 4 futures. I really only trade like 2 of them, sometimes 3, but like, I don't even know what 6E is. Is that a Forex?
Yes.
It's the Eurodollar.
That's Euro.
Let's go look at that chart. How do I do that?
6E.
Nope, that's the time frame.
I guess I don't know what
6.
it would be called in TradingView.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
6E.
okay.
Okay, so they triggered the month, but it's not in force.
Yeah, Sarah, tell me if it's bullish or bearish so that I can either buy it or sell it tomorrow.
Leo's going to just go long or short off the open and hope for the best the rest of the session.
If you're correct, I'll give you all the praise. If you're wrong, I will shred you to pieces on Twitter.
That's okay. I can handle it. Okay, so this is an either way one, honestly.
Oh, don't give me that shit.
No, because you have an inside week. So either...
Yeah, you do.
So you can't trade this until you're above it or below last week's range.
Don't
If
tell
you're
me I
above
can't trade
it...
something. I'll trade it.
He's just trying to press a button. So Just give him a direction. It doesn't matter.
So the thing is, it's either going to confirm or negate the month when we break the inside week. So so they took the month to the downside, but they're not below last month's lows, so you can't technically be short. But that's last month's lows, the pink line. So if you go inside and down, short it. And then you're going to try and target down here. If you go inside and up, you could potentially go outside month, but you're not doing that in one day, obviously. We only have, I think it kind of sucks that we only get 1 day of trading. So either or.
You really feel, Sarah.
Well, you never know what kind of day you're going to get. Nick, like if we come in and we're inside week, inside day, like we're not going to make any money. There's going to be no range. You know what I mean? So it all depends. In the first Monday, people had an excellent day. The market just went straight up all day. So it was moving.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's what we get tomorrow after a gap up, at least in the indices. But yeah, at least having the other 3 markets to kind of play around with. I mean, hopefully something's moving. I don't know. But Pharm, the chat says you're being unusually quiet, so I do have a question for you.
How short am I?
No, is Crude back, or is it still so over? Because Crude is currently gapped up above the October open, which was interesting. Coming off I think, Sarah, the lows that you and I were talking about last week, kind of that like 57 as low as even the 55s. I think we were kind of saying is like a near-term bottom that may hold. But now we're kind of back into, I think, a level I was talking about kind of in September, which is like the 61s that we kept bouncing off of. So I'd be curious to get your thoughts and what you think going forward with Crude. Is this going to hold? Can we get long? Can the Perma Bull inside me, just a little east of the Permian Basin, go long the liquid gold, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I too am just absolutely furious that it didn't come down and take out those lows. I would definitely be long Crude if that were the case. I don't know. I think it's gonna be two-way trading. I think Sarah mentioned this, but I do have the Crude chart up. I mean, if we do come in here and take out some of these highs, I do think it's going to be a little bit heavy. Let's say 63.50s maybe. I would like to see this resolve into a short and take those damn lows. I just don't know if it's going to. But right, I think we need to hold this primary distribution from last week up here. Yep. I mean, there's risk, right? I mean, if we lose that and offer that to, come back through some thin structure, I don't necessarily see it as quite that clean. I've got a spot in kind of like the mid 60s and low 60s that, potentially, right? Because this week here, I mean, we come back down here and maybe hold off this prior week's high. But I mean, you would have to reclaim the meat of this volume here, right? Meat of this volume here. If you look at a monthly profile, it's pretty much what you'd think, right? You've got some volume here. You've got an LVN. You've got some volume down here. So I do think it's probably in some trouble if it loses this, this primary distribution for last week. And I hope to see that, because again, I would like to see it come down and take those damn lows, because then I do get very, very interested. For me, if we do trade lower first, which like we're kind of trading higher, at least as of now. But if we do trade lower, then it's going to be inside of last week's range. And so Sarah would tell you, you're not allowed to trade it, Leo. I'm kidding. But like, she's right? Like, there's not a clean trending move when you're trading inside. And so you can pick out some great day trades and two-way trades. But to me, I probably would just see what happens with the structure repair personally. But I would take any failed push down below the lower edge of this distribution here. So, if you get something like a push to 61 flat or something that then fires back over, like, let's say 61.30s, then I would basically take it to the other side anyways, effectively where we're at here. So I would have liked to see a test lower first, see what it does. Now I start paying attention to see if we do come in, take last week's high, take the trailing week's highs, and then fail back into range. And that's something you could potentially take to cross back at least towards last week's volume point of control or the other side of the distribution. So I think this is very, very much two-way on Crude. And I just feel like if we could take those pesky lows, from April or whenever it was, it might offer a little bit more clarity, right? It's either going back to negatives, if it just takes those lows and blasts right through. I've got a spot like 51.60 to 55.30, if I remember correctly. But yeah, if it just takes those lows and just keeps on going, it's a problem. But, you know, once you do take those lows, we'll look and see, you know, if sellers gas out a little bit, reverse back into range. That's something I'm very, very interested in, because I mean, the thing is, like, everything's on the moon, right? And there's this run it hot narrative. Like, take your pick, right? If you're in this run it hot camp or resurgent inflation camp, but like crude is going to negatives, then I don't understand that. Of course, I'm just a price monkey, so I wouldn't understand that macro. But I mean, if you really want to be bearish crude, I mean, I understand supply versus demand, and, you know, in this market is particularly relevant, not just supply and demand in terms of like buying the futures, but like the actual product is an issue. But like, to me, I struggle seeing crude, you know, trading below 50 unless there's like some serious problems globally. So if you're bullish on the economy and bullish on markets, then hard to be too bearish on crude, at least going back to negative. So that's where I'm at. And I also feel like even if there is some issue, if we do get some kind of a minor recession or like any kind of event, they're going to step in so fast. You know, given we have midterms next year, they're just going to print so fast. It's going to be disgusting. So I would like to see one more growth scare over the next, let's say, 3 months that comes down and takes those lows, if not sooner. And that's when I would be looking to get long crude, is when everybody else is crapping their pants. It's my plan.
I love it. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I kind of was hoping for the same thing. We were going to take out those lows last week, but then we were just up and off to the races. So I think that's the week ahead. Let's jump over to earnings real quick. Oh, we still got some time.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that on Twitter.
Which part?
I didn't realize about the earnings. I didn't realize that 5 of the 7 reported this week.
Yep, it is everyone's favorite week. It is single stock trader, options trader, Super Bowl week, which is what I always seem to call this upcoming week, where you have so many bellwethers in really all of the indexes these days. But the major ones really being on Wednesday, when you will have Boeing and Caterpillar in the pre-market, as well as Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet, and even, you know, throwing in the specific name that I think I caused the specific break of said market. When I was, if you guys remember this past summer, if anyone was tuning in, when we talked about this week back in July, Chipotle, when I gave my very, very in-depth short thesis of it's just not that good anymore, if anyone remembers that. And what happened? He reported per earnings. Is that because of me? I don't know. We'll see how they report this week, but that made me laugh when, you know, the stupidest short thesis of all time apparently played out and timed perfectly somehow, which is usually the way it works. But yeah, so Meta, Microsoft, Alphabet will be your major ones on Wednesday. Like I said, following Jerome Powell's press conference. So whatever, I mean, I think at this point, everyone is expecting and knows that there's going to be a 25 basis point cut on Wednesday. I guess we'll see his, how he's going to frame and talk about potential future cuts. I think the market after CPI was pricing in another 50 basis points for the rest of the year, not including what we're probably going to see on Wednesday, kind of moving up to basically 3 cuts for the remainder of this year. But I guess we'll kind of see. And then on Thursday, you will have the other 2 majors for the Mag 7, with Amazon and Apple also reporting after the bell. So plenty of things, I think, plenty of names to keep this party going. I think last time these all reported, we just made another new all-time high in July, when Microsoft and Meta just absolutely just sent us higher in a very similar fashion right after FOMC, when Powell was kind of downplaying and being a little hawkish, in fact. But the market just punched that in the face and drove to a new all-time high. So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun to trade the close on Wednesday, and probably stay on a little bit after to see the initial reaction from some of these names. So
Nick, we have a bit of a problem, sir.
What?
There's 420 people watching the stream, and there's 106 likes. There's something very wrong about that ratio.
Well, you're the OG streamer boy, so let them know, sir.
If you don't like the chat, we're not coming back next week.
Well, I'll be here
I
because
don't make the rules.
I apparently
Cat?
I don't get Sundays off, but yeah, if you could all do us the favor, and if you're here, if you're hanging out, if you're enjoying this stream, if you've been wildly entertained by the four of us tonight, in addition to actually gaining some level of mind share knowledge on this upcoming week, then please do hit that thumbs up button. We'd very much appreciate it.
And they're giving away swag tomorrow.
We're giving away swag.
We got dope swag at the meetup. I love it.
I didn't notice what Pharm was wearing. Yes.
There was
Mhm.
dope in your swag, Sarah?
Oh, I wish.
That's interesting.
So swag giveaway tomorrow. So please do tune in. We will have, like I said, the second qualifier for the Arena Cup as well. So you will get to watch Leo and Kane and XY fumble their way through 4 markets. But before we get out of here, just reminding you guys reminding everybody that FOMC is Wednesday. That will be I'm like way past that data release. Where is it? Yeah. Wednesday, FOMC, 1:00 Central Time. So 2:00 Eastern, we will get the Fed's rate decision followed by the press conference. You can tune in here on NT Live. You'll catch myself and I believe XY, if he is not on vacation yet, trading the close with you guys and trying to fumble our way through that likely volatile press conference as it usually is. So outside of that, I don't know if we're going to get any other data with the government shutdown still looming and nobody seeming wanting to give an inch. We'll see if that changes this week. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty exciting, pretty fun. I'm wildly enthusiastic to trade all-time highs continuing this week, but we'll see how it shakes out. I think there's plenty of events to continue this rally higher or perhaps send us back into that old balance range that we were sitting in. So, guys, final thoughts before we get out of here tonight. Sarah?
I would expect we make a new low of day soon on the futures. That's all I have for right now. We gotta see where we open tomorrow, but we've got a simultaneous 15-minute break on all of them. They're all going 2 down on the 15-minute. So, and in 2 minutes, you're going to have all inside 30s, which are going to break in 2 minutes, and they're likely to go inside and down. So, like I said, should get new low of days on all of them, but I'm not trading right now.
Yeah, just everybody, if you could just hit the sell button, honestly, because it's going to suck. It's really going to suck if we just have to trade new all-time highs and a slow grind up. So let's sell it all, get it back into range, and let's see the other side of it, please.
Pharm,
Nothing would make me happier than selling Monday.
Yeah, I have this irrational fear that Monday and Tuesday are just going to be like how majority of Friday session was, which is basically ES being stuck in like 10 points and us doing nothing and me just angrily checking into the market on my phone and being like, why am I still looking at this? Why don't I just go outside or go to therapy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yep. Got to know when to walk away and not press buttons.
Well, tomorrow is the Arena Cup qualifier number 2. I'm going to be pressing buttons all day, along with Kane, XYZ, and T-Trades, Market Mommy, and also I'm missing one other person. Who's the other person?
I don't know. Smarter people than me probably know. But Leo, what time are you on?
We start at the open.
Schedule?
So I'm on for the first hour and a half at the open, and then I'll be back on in the afternoon.
It's Carmine. Carmine's the other person. There we go.
Yeah.
So you're back on to trade the clothes too?
I will be back on Trade the Close, and I'll be on in the morning and in the afternoon.
Awesome. Pharm, we get you tomorrow morning, right?
I am off tomorrow. I am not on tomorrow. No, I think I'm on Tuesday. You get me to Tuesday morning for the show, for the live show anyways.
Good
Morning show.
Yep. You guys, no, you guys will not see me until Wednesday afternoon to trade the close. So thank you all for being here. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been a comedic and interesting way to look at the week coming up. Obviously, we have a lot of things on the docket. Please do be careful. If you're going to be trading this overnight session, this gap up, I think everybody is hoping that it does fade and we can fall back into range, potentially give us a decent two-way tape going forward. But everybody, we really appreciate everyone hanging out. Remember, tune in tomorrow all day, qualifier 2 for the Arena Cup live here on NT Live. And yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you guys, everyone, for hanging out with us. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Cheers.
See you later, chat.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for tuning in.